Peace and blessings, family, and welcome back to another episode of Heal with Angelica Waters podcast, where we discuss all things healing. And on today's episode, I have a guest joining me today, spiritual coach and serial entrepreneur, Krist Heru, as we will be discussing today's topic, Know Thyself. Chris,
Peace, peace.
yes. Now I said it's Chris, right?
Krist.
Krist. Okay, got you. Chris, I am so excited to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
I'm well. The pleasure's all mine. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you. Now, before we get started on today's well needed topic, do you mind letting our audience know more about you?
Yes, like she said, I'm a spiritual coach, serial entrepreneur, a father as well. But more importantly, I'm a divine being of the creator. I'm a messenger. I'm an open vessel, and I use my avatar to bring forth information sent to me by the divine to provide to the people to raise the consciousness of the community. You know, to go in a little bit more about my entrepreneurial endeavors. Everything that I do is based around me knowing myself. So I want to actually provide things, services for the community, business opportunities in which that suits me and that I see that's necessary for the community to grow as a whole, as a unit.
Oh, wow. That is beautiful, brother. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Now, let's get started on today's topic, Know Thyself, and how the understanding of self is the game changer to an abundant life and the gateway to one's spiritual growth.
Definitely, definitely,
Yes. So I
definitely.
had a quote here. I just wanted to say this quote. It really got me. So it states here, the greatest challenge in life is to be our own person and accept that being different is a blessing and not a curse. A person who knows who they are lives a simple life by eliminating from their orbit anything that does not align with his or her overriding purpose and value. A person must be selective with their time and energy because both elements of life are limited.
That's a beautiful quote.
Yes. I'm like, whoa, this is perfect.
Yeah, that about sums it up right there. That's right in alignment with what I was saying about my entrepreneurial endeavors. I tend to try to do things that don't go outside my values. Like my earlier years, I did a lot of things chasing money and
Mhm.
chasing fame and fortune and things, and they wasn't in alignment with my soul essence. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So once I started to eliminate some of those things and only did the things that fed my soul, it was actually remarkable. It was the game changer, like you said before. It was remarkable. I experienced a 360 turnaround. Asked some people who knew me back then. Now they don't know me no more. I got to reintroduce myself.
Yes. Oh my
Right.
gosh. I feel the same exact way, man. Just being able to really get to knowing yourself, like you really are a whole different type of person. Like, so you will really have to reintroduce yourself because
Right.
that old person is no longer anymore. I believe that mentally dead person is gone. That person is gone. So yeah, that actually brings me to my first question for you. Like, what started you on your journey to knowing thyself?
And that's a good question right there. It's a little bit of story, and I see we got a little bit. It's the beginning of the episode, so we got a time. I'm gonna dig into that a
Yeah.
little bit because I think it's detrimental for people from different walks of life, in particular the walk of life I left from,
Mm-hmm.
to know how important it is and where I started and what got me on this journey. Like, I actually didn't join the journey or choose it. It kind of chose me at a time. I was experiencing some rough patches in life, some down times where not financially. I had everything I needed financially. I was well equipped financially, mentally. I always been, excelled in academics, and I've always been a student of life. So those areas weren't what kind of curtailed me to it. It was more or less my mother had passed away, and then my younger brother had got killed, and at the time I was in the streets. I was a street guy, had already had a couple penitentiary numbers, baby mamas, and ex-wife and left, typical stereotypical things, how they try to label us and everything. So at the time, my older brother had just came home from prison. I had an apartment. We had an apartment together, a condo, and he had just moved out with his girl. And I was like going through some things, like emotionally trying to figure out my place in the world, because I had just recently came into more of a religious mindset. When I had been released from prison, I was looking to find the right way of doing things. I was tired of the route I was taking. I was viewing the world different. Not only was I viewing the world different, I was viewing people and my own actions different. I was taking more accountability for myself, and I just wanted to know more. And what I seen from this new awakening, or this newfound mindset, was that the world wasn't all peaches and cream like we was taught to believe. And some of the actions and things that I also participated in weren't conducive to the growth of our community. Actually, it was destructive in nature. So, as I was scrolling down social media one day, I noticed that everybody on my timeline was real comfortable with being belligerent and ignorant, and really like bad mouthing one another. They call it wreck. They was real comfortable with wrecking on each other. And you know what I'm saying, I kind of was like, dang, I noticed it, and I was like, look, I can't really partake in that. How do I reintroduce myself, reinsert myself into this world that I don't fit in? So at that time, I kind of like made a post. I remember I made a post, and it was kind of like wrecking. I don't know what I said in particular. It was along the lines of women always something, whatever, some ignorant statement, whatever. And as I was reading about to post it, I was like, nah, this ain't me no more. I just deleted it. And right then and there, it sent me into like a deep thought, a deep train of thought. Like, man, I don't really fit in here no more. Where's my place in this world? Because I had created this space, this character, this person that I was taught to be through my environment, my upbringing, and everything. But it didn't fit me anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I was desperately trying to figure out who I was, and it was to the point it made me spiral. Because as I'm sitting there thinking of who I am, I was like, I don't know who I am. I know who I was told I am. I know I was told that we were slaves. I know I was told that I was a black boy, a black man. I know that I was told that black men are useless. I know I was told that we are expandable. We get killed down in the streets like it's nothing, and the whole world watch it, don't do anything about it. I know that I was told we was criminals, gangsters, thugs, hustlers, pimps, robbers, and all these things, but I knew I didn't fit that criteria. You know what I'm saying? So right then and at that point, I literally start to spiral mentally, like felt a sense of worthlessness. Like what was my point of even being here? What am I even here for? You know what I mean? I got money, I got things of value, material possessions, things like that, but I lack substance. I lack purpose. I lack reasoning. So it was just like I felt as if my time here had expired. I looked at the world in the condition that it was in, and I didn't want to participate. I didn't want to be one of those guys adding to the destruction, but being engaged in the community that I'm in and surrounded in the environment that I am in, which is Dayton, Ohio, we know that this city is plagued with violence, crime, and dissolution, and it's just it's a devolving community. I mean, we like to think that it's on the rise, but in our actuality, we not really putting back into the community to build it back up
Whew.
together. Like
Exactly.
we can open 1,000,001 clubs and hookah spots, and but where's the boys and clubs, girls club centers, and the thing, you know, the our own women health care. Why
Yes.
are we putting our women's health care in the hands of our oppressor?
Oof.
But just to go back to the story, not to get too far away from it, I remember sitting at the edge of my bed and contemplating suicide. I literally sat there and contemplated suicide to the point I had my gun in my hand. I sat on the edge of the bed and I sat there thinking about how would life be without me. Like, well, ain't nobody gonna miss me. I'm just another nigga. Ain't no sense in me still being here, you know? So at that point in time, I made the conscious decision that it was no purpose for me to be here. And I just was trying to gather up the courage. But right there in that very moment when I was just ready, I was there. I was at the tip of the iceberg. I was ready. Something whispered to me like, find out who you are first. And it was kind of audible. And I'm like, whoa, find out who you are first. Where did that come from? Was that a thought? Where did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
So I never minded. I brushed it off after a few minutes. I brushed it off. And then I just remember going back to my original train of thought, like, it's time to get up out of here. And that's when it hit me again. But this time it was like almost audible to where I could hear it. I felt like somebody was around me in the house. Find out who you are first. So I jumped and I remember I get to go looking through the closets and I'm looking through the rooms like, who here? I know I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard somebody this time. And I didn't find anyone. Wasn't no one there. Wasn't anyone there. And it was so profound because I literally heard it audibly.
Yeah.
And what it was telling me was find out who you are first. So I'm literally sitting there, and I know this might sound a little bit off the wall, or anybody who hasn't had any experiences with anything paranormal or
Oh no.
oh, I apologize about that. Hold on, let me get some things in order.
Okay. This is getting deep, y'all. Woo. Give us a moment. Our guest is having a little technical difficulties, but man, ooh.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You back?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm There's some
Huh.
technical difficulties. Can you see me?
No, I can't see you though.
Can you
Hold on,
see
wait.
me?
Yep, I can see you now.
Okay, yeah. Damn,
Look, ooh.
that was a rough time to interrupt too, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
so
okay though. You
but I'm
cause
gonna
you
get
you
back
going
on
deep.
topic. Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
get back on topic because this definitely useful information right here. So at the time, I didn't know what I was trying to find out about myself or find out who I was, or I didn't know the meaning of that. I didn't know. So my initial reaction was to go look in the religious text that I was brought up reading. You know, I looked through the Quran, I looked through the Bible, and it didn't stop there. I was just trying to find out who I was, my purpose, and my reason for having such a strong connection to the people on this planet, and my heart being so big. Like, I wonder why I care so much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So as I look, I didn't stop at the Quran or the Bible. I went to the Torah. I went to the Kabbalah. I went through all different texts. I studied Hinduism, Buddhism. I searched for myself throughout all this. And the one thing that I found that was particularly the same throughout everything I found, all the texts I read, all the information I gathered was, be it the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon to him, or Jesus Christ, Yeshua, or Buddha, or any other the great men of renown that came before us, right? They had a similar, they had one particular idealism in common, and it was to know thyself. I believe the Prophet Muhammad says to know thyself is to know the Lord.
Mm.
And in a lot of different um, societies and secret groups and things, to know thyself is considered the great work. They call it the opus magnus, the
Mm.
great work to get to know thyself. Actually, it's believed that that's the only work that's important on this planet, is to get to know thyself. Everything else is like distractions.
Exactly.
It's
Mm-hmm.
distractions from getting you in touch with your higher self, your
Ex-
higher essence. And to know thyself is such an important thing, it's such an important topic to me, because I see how as strong of a mind I am. I always been like, a straight A student. Anything I ever delved in or ventured off into, I was successful with, right? But even with that, me knowing how great of a person I am, how good my heart is and everything, the fact that I didn't know who I was left me in a trouble spot. It opened the gateway for all kind of things to happen. Because if you don't know yourself or take the time to get to know yourself, then you allowing yourself to be told who you are
Oh,
by a
no, you
bunch of
didn't.
people. Yeah, by a bunch of people who don't want you to know who you are,
Exactly. Woo.
right? So I was a victim of those circumstances. I felt worthless, and through that, I was contemplating suicide. You know what I'm saying? That's another. That's that's exactly the agenda of the people who tell you who you are, to get you to a state of feeling unworthy, useless. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you can plot your own exit strategy from there. That's what they want you to do. Self-destruction,
Yes.
right? And as a young man, and that's me as an adult. This was maybe like 6 years ago. So imagine a young man at the age of 23, 24, 18, 19. All they getting displayed, all they learning about themselves is what they see on TV or what they pick up in the school books and these texts or whatever. And a lot of times his story isn't our story.
Mm-hmm.
So his story is always told by the victor. And that's always one-sided. You got to realize that. We got to realize we can't allow this educational system to dictate and tell our children who they are. We got to start teaching them at home who they are
Yes.
before somebody tell them who they not, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's how you create a generations and generations full of gangsters, thugs, and men feeling unworthy or with low self-esteems and pride issues and things like that, inferiority complexes. Because that's another thing that's been instilled in us, is this inferiority complex. When I say us, I'm talking about the melanated people on the land, you know. Uh, so I preach knowing thyself to the core, because it's the foundation of who you are.
Yes.
It's the
Yes.
foundation of who you are, not of just you, us as a people. We need to
Mm-hmm.
learn who we are as a people. You know what I'm saying? We don't even know our true anatomy, our physiology. You know what I'm saying? Our
Mm-hmm.
psychosis. We need to learn the things that make the wheels and gears turn on our motor in our brain. We need to learn about our brain and what its use is, so we can know
Yes.
how to use it correctly. Our heart, our true power. You know what I'm saying? And these things we not taught growing up in school. We not taught about that we electromagnetic beings. We not taught about that. They don't tell us that. That's something that escaped them completely. We
Mm,
not taught about emotional well-being and how stress kills and deteriorates the flesh and deteriorates the nervous system. You know what I'm saying? So we learn about ourselves through the lens of somebody who's trying to get who has no understanding of who we are.
exactly. Exactly. Whew. Listen, we only 20 minutes in and you done. Boy, listen. I
Yeah, this is
love that, man. It's just the way that you just explain that is the reason why we as the melanated people have to come together to help each other, be able to rise, and let go
indeed,
of that negative, that version of ourselves that they put on us. So when you
indeed,
bring up the children, I when I think about and I think about the children nowadays, and man, they are oof. But it goes back to it goes back to the parents, because they don't know thyself.
exactly,
So we have to really, really deep and figure out who we truly are, so we are able to break the generational curse.
exactly,
Now, what's
exactly.
funny? That it's crazy because I had did a video or whatever, like a couple of weeks ago or whatever, but I literally broke down in tears because I was like, wow. I This whole time I thought the generational curse had something to do with money.
No, it's a mindset.
No. It's a mindset. I was
The
like,
mindset.
whoa. That was such an eye opener for me, and just to see that, and because I was in a point in my life where I'm working on my shadow side, trying to work on that, going back in the past where I'm kind of
Yeah,
scared, but I'm like,
yes,
I gotta go
yes,
back in the past because it's something about that past,
yes,
you
yes.
know, that can help you to navigate more in your future. You feel me? Got to go back to
Exactly.
see what's going on. So I love that, man. Like that's deep. That is amazing. So now um why is knowing yourself and relearning yourself, as we're talking about this topic, and I know that you have plenty more to say. Why is
Indeed.
knowing yourself and relearning yourself important?
It's so important. It's so important. Well, let's start back with what you said. You going back to your childhood a little bit.
Yes.
Now, throughout our childhood, that's when we are most impressionable. That's when we develop our ego, our subconscious ways, our subconscious beliefs, our belief systems, our habits, our way of thinking, our mindset,
Mm.
right? That's when we most impressionable. And from birth to the age 7, our brain is in a state called the theta state, where it's producing theta waves, where it's just absorbing information, right?
Mm.
So at that time, we are our most impressionable. And just think, if you, as a child growing up, and you watching your parents who don't know themselves tell you this or teach you that or show you this and show you that, you actually adding what I call clutter to the soul. You know what I'm saying? I
Yes.
call it clutter to the soul. So as you get older and becoming an adult, you're an adult, you're an older. That don't mean you're a man. A man is a master, able, and noble. That's somebody who knows who they are,
Mm.
right? And as you become an adult, you have piled up all this clutter, right? So in order to add useful information in which you can grow off of, you have to declutter first. That's what I consider unlearning.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to unlearn and then relearn, and it's kind of tough when you've been deeply indoctrinated and for years and years told by the people you love, by the people you respect, be it, you know, your school teachers or anybody else in a position of authority, that you are this and this is the way of the world and this is how you're supposed to be and this is how you act, this is how you respond to this, and you know, all these different things, be it emotionally, mentally, physically, or everything. We getting all these beliefs imposed onto us.
Right.
Right. So it's so important to declutter, which is unlearn, keep an open mind, declutter all the information that we've gathered, and take the time to be with self and to learn who self truly is. You know what I'm saying? The core essence of it. It's so important because if we don't find out, like I said, we have somebody else telling us who we're not. But with that comes a lot of different things. That's when you get children that's susceptible to this rap music. The biggest uh enthusiast right now that's taking our children over the edge is this music right now.
Yes.
It is this rap culture. I ain't gonna call it hip hop culture, but I'm gonna call it rap culture.
Yeah.
That's the new church for our children. That's who they looking up to. That's their idols, so to speak. That's their gods. That's who they idolizing. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times those people that's making the music are being told by the same people who write in these textbooks on what type of music to put out. It's
Exactly.
misleading, it's misguiding, it's misinformation, right? It's not any real information that they can build and grow upon. You know what I'm saying? It's like the blind leading the blind. And they leading each other right over a cliff.
Exactly.
Right. So it's important to know yourself to avoid those self-destructive ways, those self-sabotaging ways, and also to become more connected with source or your soul or the most high. That clutter is what's clogging up your connection. The connection is always there. The most high is always with you. It's always with you. It's so much soul clutter that you can't feel the connection.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's so important for us to really start to break the concrete on this, because it's been paved over and paved over for generations and generations. It's been passed down, like you said, it's been passed down as a generational curse. It's the real generational curse,
Exactly.
the lack of knowledge of self. And this
Ooh.
was perpetrated intentionally. You know, we got to come to the realization, like, we are not each other's enemies. We're not each other's oppressors. The way I feel about you and the way you might feel about me is all because someone told us how we should feel about each other
Yes.
through movies and media. And, you know, they got social media now. So everything that we taught is literally a direct attack on who we really are. It's to keep you away from who you are. And what's the reason behind that? You got to start to question that. Like, out of all the people on this planet, why don't they want us to know who we are?
There you go.
What is that? You got to start asking questions. See, in today's society, the man who asks questions is deemed crazy, you know? But we got to teach our children to question everything, accept nothing for face value.
Yes.
So this subservient mind state, this inferior mind state, this mindset that we keep passing on to our children, be it through, you know, our actions and telling them, like, you know, subscribing to some of these European institutions and systems that's in place. And I don't have nothing against the Europeans. They just doing what they do.
Right. Yeah.
But
Exactly.
we need to get our together and really come over here and start doing what we need to do too, to
Exactly.
make our people rise back up in status, raise back up our women, raise back up our children. Because right now, what people not realizing, since the fact that we don't know who we are, there's a full-fledged assault on our children. On our children. And if we don't get a grip on it soon, it's gonna get so far out of hand that we gonna be as when we become the elders and the elders, we gonna sit back and witness the destruction of our people.
Whew.
And it's real important though. I don't really think people really understand how important it is for one to know thyself. To know thyself. Because once you know thyself, can't nobody tell you what you can or can't do.
Exactly. Exactly.
You learn your purpose. You know that you're worthy. You got a place in this world. You know what I'm saying? It's like a self-esteem. So one of the things I did when I first started to dive into the information to get to know myself better was I looked into the history of our people. I mean, predating slavery.
Yeah.
You know, into the ancient civilizations, and I came up with the information like, whoa. So you mean to tell me we was kings and queens and pharaohs, empresses, and chiefs, and we lived in civilizations far superior than what we living in today? We helped build economical systems where everybody flourished and had medical systems where hardly anyone contracted disease or died from illnesses and things of that nature. We come from all this greatness, and this is only the information they tell us about us. We come from here, but they only tell us about from here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I looked at that as a direct assault on my people. And for one, I took it on my responsibility to get to know and dig into this information deeper, because I used to pride myself off the knowledge that I thought I had. So once I realized that I didn't know nothing and everything that I was taught was a lie, it sent me down that rabbit hole. I was
Hmm.
I was I was angry at first. You go through
Yeah.
stages. You go through like, what you mean to tell me we this and this, and they trying to keep this from us? We kings, and we a lot of us come from royal bloodlines,
Hmm.
and they keeping that from us. And I knew how important it was, because I remember feeling unworthy and less of a human, and like my life was worthless, only to find out that I might be a descendant from a royal bloodline, or my forefathers that came before me and foremothers that came before me was of real true black excellence
Yes.
before that was ever even a thing. You get what I'm saying? When it was
Hmm.
the only thing, when black excellence was the only thing on this land. So I seen how the psychosis part of that can affect a young man and cause him to do things less fitting. If you don't know you a king, you're more susceptible to selling drugs.
There you go.
If you don't know that we all come from the same source, then you're more susceptible to going to kill your brother
Exactly.
or defile your sister or degrade her. You know what I mean? So it's so important. I can't stress that enough.
Man,
How
like
important it
it's
is for us to really to take the time and get to know who we are as a people, and then who we are as an individual.
exactly. Ooh, that is deep. That is deep. I believe that like not being able to know who you are really is detrimental to your life at this point. This is how I'm feeling, because um, you're more open to being tricked. You're more open to being,
Deceived, lied to.
exactly deceived, lied to, and then like I don't know. I'm just so big on the children, just to know that like you said they have a point from when they're born to the time they're 7. That's when they're more They're
Susceptible,
susceptible for things. So,
impressionable.
exactly. And I see the children, but when I look at the children, I look at the parents. You know, so just being able to know thyself, yeah, like you said, you can't. It's detrimental, especially right now, for us to be able to actually be who we want to be, know our purpose, and like you stated before, being able to know who we are and then know who you are as an individual.
Exactly.
Because I think that's where I'm at right now, like knowing who I am as an individual, now trying to relearn certain things. Like, okay, this is not me. That was the old version of me. Now this is me. But how can I, just like you just stated, how can I be this new version of myself in a world that's still asleep? You know?
Yeah,
So,
that's a
whew,
task.
it's it's
That's a
it's it's
task.
it's work. It's work, but it's beautiful work because at the end of the day, um, you setting a tone for the children to come. You know, so being able to know thyself is very very important, brother. I thank you so much for that. Now before we close, I just had another question. Now, what advice would you give to a person who wants to get on a path of self discovery?
Whew, that's a good question. That's a real good question, actually. The best advice I could give to a person starting a journey or just don't know where to and don't know how to start their journey is to just get it started. Be fearless. Don't worry about what everybody got to say. Keep an open mind. Because a lot of the information you're going to come across is going to challenge your beliefs.
Mm,
It's going to challenge who you think you are, who you was taught to believe you are, but who you know you're not. So, like a lot of times, people on the journey get to a place where things start to feel uncomfortable for them, and they
mm,
stop there.
yes.
They stop there, and you got to just break through, get uncomfortable, because that's where all the magic happened at in the unknown. You got to think right now, you're we under the impression of that we know things, but we know nothing. So we
Mm,
living in the unknown, thinking that we know. But if we come to the conclusion that we know nothing and accept it for what it is, and venture into the unknown with an open mind,
mm-hmm.
that's how you be able to take the information. It start off as data. Data turns into information. Information turns into knowledge. Knowledge turns into wisdom. So you got to be willing to go collect the data, collect the information. Whatever resonate with you, keep it. If it don't, let it go. If it don't apply, let it fly. A lot of the information, see, we in a new age too, where you gonna get bombarded with information from the left, from the right. You got
Yeah.
all kind of spiritual enthusiasts, and even some of the people that's been in control, they know they are spiritual. So that don't just because you're spiritual don't mean you're a good person.
Yeah. There you go.
So you got to be careful also with the information you collect. You let it see if it resonate with your soul, but keep an open mind. The most important thing is to keep an open mind because the information is really gonna start to challenge you. It's gonna really challenge you. So just do the work. Don't let the work do you.
Yes, 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 absolutely, absolutely. Now, this is just what I had on my mind. I just got to ask because I believe that when we talk about know thyself, um, I believe it's a good connection when it comes to knowing thyself and being connected to your spiritual side. So, what's the connection to that? Like, what do you believe is the connection to that? Because I believe knowing yourself is knowing God, knowing your creator.
Exactly. Uh, I ain't know how deep we was gonna go into the knowing thyself. Like it's levels of knowing yourself.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
levels to knowing yourself. Like we
Mhm.
was spoke early on. You can get to know yourself on a collective level, like who we are as a group, as a people. On an individual level, you know, your mind, your body, your spirit, right? And
Mhm.
then on a solar level, which is the soul, dealing with the soul, that's our personal connection with the Most High. That's that little piece of God that reside in us, you know. Uh, so it's to my knowing. I like to not really kind of dib and dabble with the belief systems. I
Mhm.
try to be in the knowing. What I know is what I know, and from my knowledge and understanding, what I've gained through my journey is the part of knowing myself that's most intimate to me is my relationship and connection with the Most High.
Yes.
You know, and actually, believe it or not, I got a taste of divine cosmic energy, and that's what's been keeping me chasing after this. I don't want to say chasing because anything you chase is running from you. You know what I'm saying? But seeking this connection,
Yeah.
strengthening it. You know what I'm saying? Um, there's nothing like it. It's nothing like being in tune with the Most High, having your own personal relationship, not one that's somebody tell you that well you got to go through this or say this or do these rituals or none of that. Like a lot of times people think when you get into spirituality you got to start wearing crystals and setting up altars and doing rituals. Nah, it's really about your personal connection. And so whatever that may look like for you
Yes.
is really about your personal connection with the Most High. Whatever that may look like for you. It might take meditation. It might take prayer. You know, it might be going out in nature and experiencing the wild and listening to the birds chirp and watching the river flow to where now you feel more connected with the Most High because you engaged in with His creation. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, but whatever that takes, just know that that's all work that you got to do within. Like you can't go and get somebody else to connect you.
Yeah.
You can't go and be like, hey, put me on three-way with the Most High. It don't work like that. It don't work
Okay.
like that. You gotta seek your own connection. You know what I'm saying? You can't tap my flow.
Mhm.
And I can't tap yours. But what they try to do is usurp your connection with the Most High by putting all these different obstacles and things in the way. Like anytime that you stress, worry, or in fear, or any of these low vibrational frequencies, anxious, sad, grieving, you know, not saying that you won't have periods in your life where you experience those emotions, but
Mhm.
it's to not live in them and
Yes.
not let them overtake you, and that be your dominant vibration or your
Mm.
dominant feeling and emotion. You know what I'm saying? Experience it, feel it, because you gotta feel it to heal it.
Yes.
You got to feel it to heal it. So experience it, feel it, and let it go. Know that these emotions, they visitors. They don't come to stay. They visitors. So you got to give them their time there and let them go. Right? I seen you had a episode about acceptance. And that,
Yes.
yeah, and that's big. That's the first stage of anything. It's coming to the acceptance of that it exists. You got to bring it to the light. You know what I'm saying? Bring what's in the shadow into the light, what's in the darkness to the light. Because darkness equates to ignorance.
Yes.
Ignorance is just not knowing. It's not how you nasty or trifling or nothing. It's just you just don't know.
Mhm.
And ignorance is a choice too. So if you choose not to know, that's what you would call counterproductive to you.
Right.
You your own worst enemy. You oppressing yourself. Because the knowledge is there, it's at our fingertip. We in the age of information right now.
Ooh.
Anything you want to know, it can be found out with a little bit of research and diligence. Pay your due diligence, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for that, Chris. This was so amazing and deep. Woo, Lord.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I really
Yes,
I really love what you're doing with your platform here. It's amazing. We need more women, more queens that's willing to get out there on the front line. More men too as well, that's willing
yeah,
to get out here on the front line and do the work to heal the community, to heal themselves and shit. Cause each one reach one. That's how we grow.
yes. Exactly, exactly. And I, like I said before, like I love what you got going on as well. My brother, he got a podcast as well. You know, trying to
Yeah,
bring our people in, give them
yeah,
knowledge of the truth, man. I love the episode where you talked about the shadow side, because at
yeah.
that point I was working on my shadow side right then. I'm like, ooh, wait, he getting in too deep.
Yeah, spirit led me to talk about the shadow side.
Mhm.
I actually I'm doing some shadow work right now because like healing is a lifestyle for
Yes,
me.
it is.
We always facing adversities or dealing with things that we might not know that's buried deep, deep, deep within that we need to surface so we can heal it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's what shadow work really deals with. The things that's buried deep within us that on a regular people normally don't get to see or maybe don't even notice about us.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Or don't even know like that about their self, like not knowing. That's why knowing thyself is important,
exactly.
because when you know thyself, the process of that is, like we stated before and you talked about, was being able to go back in history and knowing certain things about our people and what they've been through and just who they are in general. And then I believe that takes us to getting to know who we are. And then we go back into
Right,
history, seeing our family, our mom and dad, how they raised us, see how we
right.
are, and try to kind of like um, weed things out. Like, okay,
I
this
got
ain't
this from
me.
them. I got
Yeah.
this from them. They probably got this. Right? It's a collection of traits and habits and things that we
Mm-hmm.
collect and we pick up and we start doing and exhibiting ourselves. But a lot of it is not rooted in our soul. It's things that we
Exactly.
collect, things we pick up along our journey. You know what I'm saying? So, like I be telling, we all on a spiritual journey. We was on a spiritual journey the day we were born.
Exactly.
It didn't start when I started to realize that I need to get to know thyself. It was things happening around me all the time that was leading to that awakening.
Exactly. Exactly. Listen, Allah is the best of knowers. God knows. I believe that, we all got a purpose.
Yeah,
Once we was able to be in that embryo of that womb, that's the day that he made that decision that you got a purpose here.
exactly.
I chose you. So
Right.
definitely, definitely. So again, I want to thank you so much for joining me today and discussing this well needed topic, know thyself. I would
Know
also like to
thyself.
give
Know
a
thyself.
Know thyself. Yes. I would also like to give a special thank you to my amazing healing tribe and audience for joining us today. I pray today's episode was informative and valuable to you all. Also, be sure to give us some feedback, share, and subscribe. And turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes on any of your favorite podcast stations and or on my YouTube channel, Heal with Angelica Waters Podcast, to help get the message out to those in need of healing. Also, if you or anyone you know is suffering from anxiety and depression, I have the perfect solution for you. Please join me in my healing tribe in my 12-week group coaching program, where I work hands on with you to combat your anxiety and depression. Spots are filling up, so be sure to register in the link in the description. I guarantee a life changing results. I will also leave info in the description so you can follow up with my guest today, Krist Heru. Now, Chris, before we end today's show, do you have any closing remarks for today's audience?
Just want to send peace, love, and light to everyone. Let y'all know I got little clothing line coming out soon, middle
Okay,
of the month.
you might have to
This,
stand up so we can see that real, but
yeah, this is just
okay.
one of the shirts. This with a seal on it. It's IGWAP, 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 and that's an acronym. It stands for If God Was a Person. So be on the
Ooh.
lookout for that in the middle of the month, July this month. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I
Um,
love it.
and also, yeah, the podcast airing every Saturday at 1 p.m. on Facebook Live. Y'all can catch that on the Celestial Seeds tribe group. If you're not a member, tap in, tap in, tap in. And I just want to say peace and unity to the divinity in me, honors the divinity in you.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. And thank you all again for joining us today. And we leave you guys as we came. Peace and blessings.
Peace.